Good morning. Welcome back to the Football Terrace. Smash that like button. Subscribe to the Football Terrace. Turn on the bell notifications. It's right next to the subscribe button. What a big weekend of football we have in store. It's FA Cup semi-finals. Honestly, this is one of my most favourite times of the football calendar. Huge fan of the FA Cup. The passion, the emotion, the history, the football, of course, intertwined in the middle of that as well. We're here. We're going to have a little bit more of a preview looking ahead of the game. Big news today that Tammy Abraham has been dropped from the Chelsea's match day squad. Up to 9 substitutes can be announced, with up to 5 being used in the game, and Tammy hasn't made the bench. No official word yet as to whether or not he's dropped for footballing reasons, personal reasons, or maybe an injury. There are other mooted reports that he is asked to leave Chelsea after a lack of game time. We will be delving into that with you today as well. Also, we're here to talk about a potential hijacking. Chelsea Football Club looking at the possibility of hijacking Manchester United's move for Raphael Varane. What we know as it stands right now, there is a genuine possibility that Raphael Varane could leave Real Madrid this summer. Manchester United have made Raphael Varane their number 1 centre-back target. They want to land him. They want to bring him in and instill him next to Harry Maguire. We know that Chelsea Football Club have been looking at a number of options. Tomori is highly likely to leave and join AC Milan. Sarr is believed to not be ready yet to step into this team. Jules Kounde, along with Gimenez, are the 2 players that Chelsea have been monitoring and making inroads into in recent times. Chelsea currently leading the race to sign both of those players in respect of they can get either one. They're probably not going to sign 2, but they can get either one. They're leading the race for both individuals. However, there are reports this morning from multiple outlets that Chelsea may try to step in and take Raphael Varane away from Manchester United. And for me, this wouldn't be the first time Chelsea have hijacked moves for Man United's targets, or in fact, it's not the first time in the last 12 months that they have hijacked. They took 2 of Liverpool's primary targets away in Timo Werner and Kai Havertz just last year, to name a few. And they've done this on multiple occasions, Chelsea. They're absolute masters at it. I swear Willian was sitting on the medical table of Spurs and he ended up going to play for Chelsea. As an example, Pedro was set for Manchester United from Barcelona, ended up going to Chelsea. So this wouldn't surprise me if at some point in the summer we see Raphael Varane holding a blue shirt with the number 3 on it in Stamford Bridge or at Cobham's training ground. But I do want your views. I want your opinions on these stories this morning as well. There are other reports in relation to Man United centre-backs as well that I did want to touch on with you today. Supposedly Man United have looked for Varane from Leicester, and Leicester have quoted £80 million for him. What's your views and what are your opinions on that, ladies and gentlemen? Smash that like button, hit the share button. We're going to put the link out for you to call in and have your say. We're going to put it on the Discord server in the next 5 minutes. So make sure you go into the comment section below the description below. Sign up to our Discord server. The invite code is there. It's an amazing chat room. It really, really is. We have a super chat here that says, if Chelsea go in for Varane, then United may as well pack up now. Yeah, I hear you on that. I agree completely. If they go for Raphael Varane, Man United are in absolute bits. Speaking of Man United, I want to say a massive thank you, actually, to Casey Stoner, the current female manager of the ladies' female team at Manchester United, has kindly signed a shirt for us and sent that. You can see that there as a signature. Thank you very much. Send that through to the Football Terrace guy up on the wall here. Friend of the show and all that. So thank you very, very much indeed. It means a great deal to receive that today. Big shout out. Another good season. I didn't realize it was actually her first managerial appointment. 66% win ratio since she took over at Manchester United. So big congrats to her and thank you very much for the signed shirt and gift. Thank you. Terry is a Chelsea fan tonight. 100%. 100%. I will be singing on the match reaction show, which will come out later. You will see me quite literally singing Blue is the Colour. I've learned the words. I respected the super chat from a few weeks ago, and I thought I'd save it for this point. I will be singing that song at the top of my lungs. Win, lose, or draw, but I am a Chelsea fan today. I'm 110% behind Chelsea because we need to stop the quad today. Go on, Chelsea. Proper Chelsea. It's not about hating City. People, oh, you hate City. I don't hate City. They're the second biggest rivals to my football team, and they're the literal city rivals, geographical rivals of Manchester United. And they're on course to achieve the greatest individual season known to man. Of course, I don't want them to complete it. No football fan should want them to complete it. If City complete the quad, they complete football. In terms of individual season success, nobody ever can better it. It can never be bettered. It can never, ever be bettered. At the moment, Man United have the treble, which can be equaled and it can be bettered. There is something to aim for. When City complete the quad, the only way you do better than that is by doing 2 quads. And that ain't happening, right? That's not happening in a month of Sundays. So once they do it, there will never be another team in the history of football to have a better singular season. So Chelsea fans and Arsenal fans and Liverpool fans, you can never hope of being the team that does the best individual season ever. It's impossible. At least right now with Man United doing a treble, there's the hope you might do a quad. But if somebody does it, that hope is gone. Football needs Chelsea to win today. Legit. That isn't even salt. That's legit. 110%. There we go. Mo, I'm not promoting Glazer products. We were sent a gift and I'm thanking somebody for it. I'm not going to disrespect a gift that was sent into the channel from the current manager of Manchester United and just palm it off and be disrespectful. It is what it is. I'm going to thank somebody for being so kind. It's as simple as that for me. Man like Pav here says, plot twist, Terry loses his voice just before the match reaction. No, I'll be this. Honestly, I'm actually so up for this FA Cup. It's like my team's playing today. No, actually, let me rephrase that. My team is playing today. Today, I do not support that club anymore. I do not support this team anymore. Today, I support Chelsea. I'm a Chelsea fan today. 110%. 100.
You're a fraud.
Come in later, KJ. I'll speak to you in a bit. I'm not a fraud. I am tactical. I used to watch The Weakest Link when I was younger. What you'd see in The Weakest Link, they were clever. When you got near to the latter stages, you'd see lots of, if they had a smart bunch, they would vote out the strongest link. That way, it would give them all an opportunity of winning, right? That's what I want here. Let's vote out the strongest link. Let's come together to stop the quad. That's it. Very disappointed in you, Terry. You lot are mad. You guys wear other club shirts and stuff. I'm just literally saying today, are you missing the point here? You're missing the point. I'm supporting Chelsea wholeheartedly today to create as much positive energy as possible to stop my club's greatest achievement from being bettered. It's all about, I'm only supporting Chelsea for the betterment of Manchester United. Come on, stop being at key stage 1 level of what's the word I'm looking for? Critical thinking. Go beyond that. Stretch your horizons. Come on, think big. Think big. Strip Bear here says, my shirt was asked for and offered. My brother is wafting 3+ weeks. My last comment. Strip Bear, your shirt was sent. You sent the address through, I think, on the 1st of April. That's not 3 weeks ago. It's definitely not 3 weeks plus. Equally, the shirt was sent last week. We put the orders in, and obviously things get done. It wasn't at the top of my personal to-do list to sit down and order the shirts. It was in a long list of priorities, but yours and Anita's and one other person's was sent out. Just ask Winter Surfer. They take a few weeks to get processed, get sent out, get delivered, etc. So I appreciate the super chat. Appreciate the support that you've given to the channel over the years. There's no doubt to that, Strip Bear. But spreading lies about us on the internet is unacceptable. DMing me and threatening to send your brother down, to strangle me and stuff, all unacceptable. So privileges will be removed for that because we won't tolerate it, especially the liar part. Spreading lies on the internet is unforgivable. So there we go. Won't ignore super chats, but just need to call that out. Comment here says, would you rather Liverpool win a treble or City the quad? Liverpool winning the treble. If those were the 2 choices, then it's Liverpool winning a treble because Man United have already done it. So all they've done is equal something that we did first. We're still, do you know what I mean? Who remembers the second person to walk on the moon? No one. Everyone remembers Neil Armstrong. That's my point here. This is Neil Armstrong Day. Who remembers the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth guy to walk on the moon? No one. There ain't no stadiums named after him. Man ain't got, man, none of these other people, male or female, none of them have got, what's that actor called that played Neil Armstrong recently? Ryan Gosling. These guys ain't got Ryan Gosling acting like a Don in their name. So, of course, you pick another team doing a treble over City doing a quad. When City do the quad, the treble becomes irrelevant. Like Neil Armstrong's massive, right? Because he walked on the moon. Trust me, Neil Armstrong will become a smaller element of history when someone walks on Mars. When someone walks on Mars.
Allegedly. He allegedly walked on the moon.
He walks on the moon. Allegedly walks on the moon. But it doesn't matter if he did or he didn't. The fame's there. When the man allegedly walks on Mars, it will change. Do you know what I mean? Usain Bolt, everyone talks about him. The day someone breaks his world record, there's an element of Usain Bolt that drifts slightly further back in history. He obviously won 3 golds, 3 Olympics running. That's a big, you got to beat that as well. When records get broke, somebody else takes the mantle. So why do I want my team to lose their mantle? Why? Unless it's buying my team. Think about these things. Think about them. Think about them. 110%. Going to bring KJ back through in a few moments' time. That's because no one went to the moon since then. Well, there we go. Someone must have stepped on it. Has no one been on the moon since? Shows how much I know. But there we go. Anyway, we don't know anybody else. We don't know how many other astronauts. The only other astronaut I know is Buzz Lightyear. That's it. That's the only other one I know. How am I doing? Do you know what, Tiny? I'm good, bro. I'm really, really good indeed. We're going to share the link now. We want you to come on and have your say this morning. The big news today is that Chelsea are going to try and hijack Raphael Varane to Manchester United. I want your thoughts and I want your feelings on that. I want your thoughts and I want your feelings on that. What's it say? Terry put that up. I don't know what that means. I don't know what you mean. Records are there to be broken. Yes, but not by my biggest rivals. Like if someone said someone's doing the treble this year, Arsenal or Liverpool, I'd pick Arsenal if someone had to do it. I'd never want it to be my biggest rivals. Why would I? That's weird, bruv. That's weird. That's weird. Proper weird. Terry, have you heard about Jude Bellingham being linked with a move to Chelsea? No, I don't think he should right now. I think Jude Bellingham should stay at Dortmund for another year or two. He's only 17. Give him time, slow himself down a bit. But he's the closest thing I've seen since Paul Scholes. I will sing the song a little bit later, but I'm not doing it today. We've got a new show we're doing later on this evening as well. After we're doing the match reaction show, and then later on this evening, we've got a different kind of show that we're going to go live with. Really excited about that player rating show with a twist, so make sure you're tuning in for that. I'm going to share the link now on the Discord page. I'm going to put it in the Chelsea chat, so go find the Chelsea chat. I'm going to type it cool in now. I want to know what you're thinking and you're feeling and all that jazz. I learned how to do something new on Discord today. If I do at here, it just sends the message to the people in the in that particular chat room rather than the whole server. Didn't know that. Shows how old I am. I mean, it's one of them ones. Let's do a few more of these comments here. Terry, do you know that Jude Bellingham's idol is Stevie G? I didn't. I do now. Well done. Good stuff. Terry, what are Chelsea up to? Can you expand on that question, please, Twisted? Roof in the House says the way in which United completed their treble will make them stand out, even if it's replicated, in my opinion. Absolutely, Ruth. Man United's treble is shrouded in romance and beauty, wonderful football, and it's the first. The first always gets huge recognition. But if someone does a quad, it expands beyond it. And that's my fear. So today, I be a Chelsea fan. Can't help myself. KJ's joining us now. What you saying, bro?
All right, listen. We need these men to do one job. Just do one job. Just beat them and lose in the final. Chelsea lose in the final. Just please, just beat them and lose in the final. That'd be excellent.
Listen, if Chelsea go into the final, I won't be supporting them because then they'll be against Southampton or Leicester, and I'll always support the underdog in relation to that. But that's going to happen. In terms of the news today, Raphael Varane, the hijacking. What's your thoughts when you saw that?
I saw that and I was just like, oh, for flip's sake, because I can see them doing it again. Chelsea are very notorious of taking people's deals right from under their noses. They're notorious for doing that. Yeah. And they do need a centre back. They've been looking at Kounde. They've been looking at others. So a Varane makes sense. And it's a very dangerous proposition because Man United obviously are clearly looking at Varane. But when you put the two clubs next to each other, the managers next to each other, and the team, the players next to each other, you probably pick Chelsea, in all honesty. United's team and Chelsea team are pretty, I think, very similar. So that's even. The manager, they've clearly got the better manager. I'm not going to make any lies about that. Tuchel is a better manager. And the structure of the club and the ambitions of the club, Chelsea win on that as well. So if Chelsea actually go in for Varane, I don't think United can compete.
Yeah. If Chelsea want him, and this move looks genuinely possible. It's been confirmed by so many credible sources that he is legitimately looking to move away from Real Madrid. And it's why I think Chelsea have now got involved. In the last few days, it's been confirmed that this isn't just a player looking to renew his contract with a bumper deal. It's someone looking for a change of direction. Suddenly, Chelsea's focus has moved away from... Well, they're still looking at Gimenez. They're still looking at Jules Kounde as a priority, but it's, hang on. There's an even better centre-back here that's older, more established, less injury prone, etc. Let's go have a look at him. And that's what fills me with fear as a Man United fan, is they have hijacked so many moves for Man United players, Tottenham players, Liverpool players over the last 15 years. It's happened on such a regular occurrence. This is just normal. Chelsea come in, go, boom, we want you, we want to get it, we want to get it done. Man United, since they've heard Chelsea are interested, of course, now looking to alternative options. They went to Leicester and they've made genuine inquiries about Fofana, and Leicester said £80 million. What would you spend £80 million on Fofana?
Hell no, bro. He is a talented player, yes. But we've just seen him one season in the Premier League and he might bottle top four. You know what I mean? Like, this is the thing, like, we need to let this guy develop in the Premier League if we're going to spend 80 million on him. If you're not going to go and grab him from St. Etienne straight away and then put him into your team, you have to allow these players to have more than 2 seasons in the Prem before you decide to be spending big money on them. We've already got shagged by Leicester for Harry Maguire. If you went in for Ndidi, we'll get shagged. And again, if we're going to go in for Fofana, you're going to get shagged. And you don't want to get shagged. 1 year of Premier League football.
Shagged?
Shagged, yeah. They'll just get you. They'll just rinse you.
I've never heard that word before. I like that word.
Yeah.
It's nice. I've got a comment here. Yeah, I hear you. There's a comment here. Eye test is... Imagine someone who believes in eye test over stats saying this. If we are smart, we do a straight swap, Pogba for Varane.
That's just weakening us, personally. You try your best to keep Pogba, and you also buy Varane. Varane would come more willing to come, in my opinion, if Pogba is there. France teammate, he loves it. They love each other. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I think if you could sit down to Paul Pogba in the summer and say, look, we've signed Varane, Sancho's on his way, and we've got man like Rice coming in, you're more likely that Pogba is going to say, well, maybe I'll just, we've got, hopefully by then we've finished second, a good second, to quote Gary Neville, won a Europa League. And we say, listen, because Pogba staying and 3 signings like that coming in the summer, Man United, there'll be no excuses to not challenge for a title. That would be the best squad we've had since Fergie, with the best balance we've had since 2009. Like, I don't think people realize how good a squad and how balanced a squad. There then becomes no excuse of, we don't have the players, we don't have this. The only excuse left will be is, are the players good enough and is the manager good enough? But I think that's how that needs to be. Viewers, we're going to go to your calls. We also want to speak about Tammy being dropped and maybe looking to leave. Please hit that like button for us this morning. Share this stream on your social media platforms. First caller we're going to today is going to be man like Alex. Alex is a Chelsea fan, as we know. What you saying now?
You right, guys? How are you? All good?
Yeah, brother. What's in your mind?
KJ, I'm loving that top. You know, Inter Milan, man, is my team.
Oi,
When I was growing up, man, I love that top.
Wavy. It's a wavy shirt. It's a wavy shirt. Who knew that kits were nice and you could wear them?
But I'm excited for today, man. I'm excited for the Tuchel versus Guardiola kind of tactics and seeing how they can how they can match each other up today. And I guess I'm interested today to see how the game's going to plan out. I think I see the game being a very tight and kind of controlled game from both teams. I think both teams are going to have to be clinical. The last couple of games, both teams maybe haven't been as much clinical as this year. City maybe haven't been as much of a clinical team. Both teams always have a lot of chances, but not always scoring. So I see maybe going to extra time, maybe penalties today. I could, but look, I'm going to be, gunning for Chelsea today, and hopefully they can get the win.
Absolutely. What did you make of the Tammy Abraham news today? You can have 9 subs on the bench and make up the 5 subs in a game, and he's not included in the squad. There's no reports of injury. There are some reports that he has requested to leave Chelsea. What's your views? Because I asked that because a lot of Chelsea fans in recent weeks have it's been one area where I have seen Thomas Tuchel sort of criticised by the Chelsea faithful, that Tammy hasn't been given enough opportunities. What's your views on this current scenario?
Look, I still think, I don't know, man. What I believe, in my true opinion, is that I think at the moment Havertz and the players who are playing in front of him are just at the moment ahead of him in the team and playing better. And I think Tuchel is just liking what he has now, and he's working with that. I do still believe Tammy Abraham is in Tuchel's plans. I think I want to wait until the summer to fully understand if he's not going to be part of his plans or if he's going to be part of the Chelsea Football Club, if he wants to leave. I understand, yes, I think there's a lot of rumours of him leaving, yes, because he hasn't been playing. Like, since the injury, he's not injured anymore. Like, he was injured like one month ago. He has been playing. So, yeah, it's worrying, because the thing is, look, I don't rate Tammy Abraham. Like, I don't think he is it. Like, I don't think he's going to be the striker that we need to go win titles. He'd be a good player to keep in the squad as a second striker. But if he wants to leave, look, make him go and leave. And if he goes and succeed, I'm happy for him. Go and succeed. But
it's not even good for the bench of a title-winning team. He's just not it. I'm sorry. He's just really not. He's really not. And Tuchel, he's not in his plans. Tuchel sees this. He knows this. This guy is whack. You know what I mean? Like, at the highest level, you don't want Tammy Abraham leading your line. You don't want him as a backup player either. You move him on, get the money for him. You can get easy 30 million for him. Get the money, reinvest it into the team. Yeah, it's just not it.
You're absolutely right. And I think it's not even disrespectful what you said. Some people might take it as disrespectful, but it isn't. At the end of the day, what I'm seeing from a lot of Chelsea fans is this desperation for 2, 3, 4, 5 youth players to make it, because we all know the irony is a lot of Man United fans in recent times have become a little bit sick of this DNA United way. Why do we have to put so much like kind of emphasis and attention on our youth? They spread that love across the kind of ether. Where I see Chelsea fans at the other end of that spectrum, they're so desperate to have their team winning trophies with a good level of core players from their academy. So I think so they can say, well, we don't just buy it, do we? We've developed it as well. But Tammy just isn't. Well, I think Tammy is good enough for the bench. I disagree with that part, KJ. I think he's okay from the bench, but Tammy clearly wants more than to be a bit part player, and he isn't going to be good enough to lead the line for Chelsea. Seemingly right now, we don't even have Timo Werner, who's a better player than Tammy, is going to be good enough to do that. It's why the likes of Haaland and Harry Kane are being looked at. Listen, Alex, thank you very much for coming on, mate, and having your say. Really,
cheers, guys, for me on.
And a super chat here that came in from Twisted, who said, "Do players see Chelsea as a bigger club?" We had a reply literally straight away from my guy here that says, "Not bigger, just better run and with a better structure." And I think that's literally exactly how it is. Bigger, no. Better run, absolutely. We've got Lamin backstage. We've got the Arsenal realist. We've got Glazer out. We've got Abs. We've got Josh. We're going to come to you all. But first, we're going to go to Man Like Pav. What you saying, bro?
I'm good, man. You two good?
Yeah, man. You're all good.
Yeah. I want to firstly quickly speak on Tammy. I don't think he's good enough striker to be at Chelsea. Like, they've still got Giroud. you've got Tammy Abraham, and I'm sure they've still got Batshuayi on their books as well, but he's out on loan. So you've got all these strikers that don't even play. It kind of makes sense to get rid of maybe 2. And someone like Tammy Abraham, I think it was at Villa 2 years ago where he had a decent season and then maybe had like a half-ish decent season last year. I think he'd be better off maybe at someone like a West Ham, or you've got your teams like Norwich, Brentford, or Watford who might be coming up next year. I think he'd suit a team like that.
Yes.
But I don't think he's there. He shouldn't really be. I don't even think he's a top half Premier League player for a club in the top half. Like,
I think, do you know what it is, Pav? It comes. Jesse Lingard is a prime example here. Lingard is excelling at a club where he's got more time and space because teams open up. We're 38 seconds in here to the West Ham Newcastle game, and Lingard touched the ball, and he has so much room and space because Newcastle are not going to set up with a solid mid or low block against West Ham like they would do if they were playing Chelsea today. That will help a player like Tammy Abraham. That extra half a second on the ball in football terms is like half a mile in a marathon, if that makes sense. It's just gives you the extra time to think and move and get your shots off. It's why championship players can score loads of goals there. They come to the Prem and they're like, why have I scored 4 goals? Defenders close you down quicker.
Yeah, Tammy was great for Aston Villa when he was here. When he was in Birmingham, he was great for Bristol City when he was over there, and both of them were in the Championship spell. You saw him on loan at Swansea in the Premier League. Didn't work out too well. I feel like, again, at the time he was young, so he didn't get as many games that he maybe did. But I've seen him for Chelsea now in the Premier League. Yes, he has spurts of good moments, a good purple patch where he scores 7 goals in 3 games or something. But after that, what is there? I see Chelsea fans complaining. Literally, I just see Chelsea fans always complain about his first touch, about his link-up play, about his hold-up play, about his heading. So I'm seeing all these complaints, but then when I say he's not good enough for Chelsea, people are like, oh no, but it's not that bad. Yo, let it go, man. He is a Crystal Palace baller, fam. Man will be at Mandem Palace before you know it, replacing Benteke, bro. That's what it is.
I get that. Pav, final question for you, Pav. What's your thoughts on the Varane hijack? If Chelsea legitimately start making inroads into this deal, how nervous will that make you as a Man United fan?
Yeah, I really want Varane. It kind of makes sense for a Chelsea and a Man United to be looking at him because we don't need a youngster. I know they've got Thiago Silva, but what we need is an experienced player to go into a team who's ready to win titles, ready to win cups. Like, bringing in someone young doesn't make sense. Like, both teams are looking for experience, and Varane fits that profile. Look at what he's won. He's World Cup, Champions League, everything. He knows what he's doing. So it makes sense. So it does worry me. But obviously Chelsea's board, their owners, they're better at transfers than what we are. My hopes and prayers are just like on those 2 Scottish brothers and Ed Woodward to get this done, and I don't trust them to get it done, bro. Like, you know what I mean?
I hear you on that, bro. Dude, Pav, thank you very much for your call and all your support, mate. We'll chat to you again soon. Top man. Make sure you're smashing that like button and that share button as well. Next up on the show, Lamin's with us. Lamin, welcome back to the Terrace, mate. What's on your mind?
Yes, Terry. How are you, man? Good morning to you.
I'm good.
Yeah, no, I've just been listening, yeah. I think with the Tammy situation, I think he's a little bit disrespected by some Chelsea fans. And I'll say why, yeah. Because he's been our top goal scorer for 2 seasons running. At the end of the day, he's a striker and his job is to put the ball at the back of the net. Now, I'm not saying he's very frustrating to watch, yeah. Because what does KJ call him? Bambi on ice. Like, whenever he gets the ball, he just goes on the floor. I mean, I don't think he's he's good enough yet to be leading our lineup. But if he's getting the goals, there's like it's very hard because no one else in the squad is getting the goals. So I think he at least deserves.
For me, so what did those goals produce for you last season? He was your top scorer.
It got us top 4.
Top 4, but you're Chelsea Football Club.
Yeah, but at the time where we were, without Tammy's goals, we don't get top 4. And you could argue that, I mean, without his goals this year, we probably have kind of suffered a little bit. I mean, he does his job. You can't really criticize the guy for like doing his job. Okay, everything else around him. I think because he's not pleasing on the eye, he doesn't do the flicks and the tricks. Like he doesn't really. His holder play needs to get better. But I mean, that would come with time. If he's putting the ball at the back of the net, I can't really be too mad at him. Like the reason why I'm not a big Timo fan is because he does everything else well. But at the end of the day, he bought you for the goals. You have to score the goals. Otherwise, everything else is pointless for me. And the striker's main job is to score goals.
Of course it is. And I think that's something that gets forgotten about now. It's what look, Chelsea are looking at a top-level striker for a reason. And some Chelsea fans will defend Tammy, some will defend Timo, some will defend both. But in a cold light of day, Thomas Tuchel doesn't have time, another 18 months, for those two to find their feet and start scoring. Because if this time next year, you're battling out for fourth only, your manager is highly likely to be sacked. So you can't, the problem is with Chelsea, you can't put that level of pressure on a manager and then expect them to give young players or anyone they sign 2-3 years to settle and find their feet. It's either you perform now or you go. Because if a manager's being treated that way, he has to treat his squad in the exact same manner. You know, it's just the way it is. It's the way it is. Lamin, great call, mate. Thank you very much for coming on and having your say. Yeah, Coach?
I'm just looking at the goals that he's scored this season. He scored 6 in the Prem against West Brom, Sheffield United, Newcastle. He got 2 versus West Ham and 1 versus Arsenal, and then nothing then. Champions League, he's only scored 1 Champions League goal against Stade Rennais. FA Cup, let me look at the FA Cup. 3 hat-trick versus Luton and a goal against Barnsley. The level of teams he's scoring against is not the level of what Chelsea need.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And what I would also like to do is a deeper review on that. Is what goals in those games were they openers, were they winners, were they equalizers, were they the third in sort of the third goal in a 3-0 rout where they're already winning. I'm not saying that they do count for less. You know, match winners and opening goals are far more important than sort of getting the 4th goal of a 5-0 rout, in my opinion. Next on the show, we are going to go to ISS Actual Son, the realist man like Abs. What you saying, bro?
How are you, Terry?
Yeah, all good, man. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for making me a mod in Discord, innit?
Not a problem, bro. Not a problem.
I just want to say, obviously, Varane's a sensational defender. Don't really want to talk much about him, but about Tammy, I think it's just a tall Nketiah. He's just a tall Eddie Nketiah. That's what I think he is.
Just a tall Nketiah.
Yeah, but in all honesty, though, I think if Chelsea go for Varane, I think
over. Yeah, Chelsea go for. Yeah, Chelsea go for Varane. I can't see Man United winning that battle unless we go down the realms of making stupid level salaries, which we don't want to go back down to behaving that way again. Realist, thank you very much for coming on, mate, and having your say. Really appreciate that, bro. Next up, we've got Chris on the line here. Chris, what you saying, mate?
Yo, I'm good.
Good. What's on your mind?
You know how you said about the Varane thing?
Yes.
I would be more scared if United got Varane than Chelsea getting Varane, because I think Chelsea's problems are more offensive than defensive, and United's defense being changed that much by Varane will just make them a bigger problem, I think.
Yeah. Who do you support?
Arsenal.
Oh, you're an Arsenal. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, actually. I think Man United's overall improvement as a team would be bigger with Varane than Chelsea's. As you say, they're not conceding goals now, really. Varane would just make that a little bit more cast iron. Man United, it could be, who knows? You know, if we suddenly had a very strong defense and midfield, who knows what would happen? You know, it would be an interesting one, no doubt. Do you think he'll leave Real Madrid, though?
If they don't win Champions League this year, I think he might leave.
There we go. Listen, Chris, thank you very much for coming on, mate, and having your say. Really appreciate that, bro. He sounded a little bit like Lincoln. A little Lincoln vibe was there. Oh, for West Ham, we're going to take the lead. Indiana's with us. Morning, Indiana. What are you saying, bro?
Morning, man. Varane worries me because it just feels like a Ramos 2.0. Like, why would he want to leave Real Madrid? Why would he want to?
Because he's bored.
Because he's bored. He's bored in the sunshine in Spain and
He
being
could
at the
be.
top of a
Yeah,
league.
fam, he
And
could
I
be.
don't. I just listen. I don't get why we're going to get some sort of incredible deal for Varane. I don't understand it.
He's got 1 year left on his contract, and he looks like he wants to leave and no longer sign. So we're not gonna we won't be spending over like the 70s, the 80s, 90s.
No,
for
I
him.
know that, KG. I'm just saying that I'm a bit dubious about the deal because it feels like great promotion for him.
No, I know why you're again, I'm dubious about it because of Bastian Schweinsteiger, because of Angel Di Maria, because of Falcao, because we signed players that were big names like Varane and who were either past their best or didn't really want to be here. Because that club has done it to Sanchez, because we've done that on a regular occurrence since Fergie, I completely understand the skeptical nature. I'm just intrigued. The reason I'm just giving it a little bit more faith is that we do have a new structure, but that new structure is going to be tested by a signing like this. If they pulled this off and he comes in and you're like, spends half the season injured, and then we suddenly realize why Real Madrid were happy not to give him a new bumper deal because they could see his body breaking down, then Myrtle and Darren Fletcher are done before they even begin, because their job is to do the due diligence on this deal to ensure the player really wants to be here and is in perfect working order to be able to deliver for the length of these contracts. So I totally get your skepticism. I'm with you on that. Just quickly, Stro, big up for the super chat, mate. We need to get you back on, brother. You've not been on for a long time. Miss you on the terrace.
We miss you, man. We miss you, bro.
Miss you on the terrace, my guy. We really, really do. Let's throw some more callers into the stream here. Next up, we've got man like Abs. What are you saying, Abs?
So for the good of football, I hope we slap the living hell out of FC later tonight. That'd be lovely for everyone to watch. But on the whole Tammy Abraham thing, a few weeks ago I came on and I told you when we drew 1-1 with Southampton that Tammy Abraham basically offers nothing. He basically, all he is, he's a man with height. Even Prem said he's just a waste of height because man can't hold up the ball. He can't use his head. And he's not a particularly fast striker. So, I mean, I wouldn't go as far as to say he's just an Eddie and K. Come on, put a bit more respect on his name. But yeah, he's not particularly great. On Varane, I don't think we need Varane. Varane is the least of our worries. What we need is someone in front of our defenders who's going to be like that first line of defense. We need a new DM.
Hang on, bro. You've got the best DM in the world in Kante.
Yeah, but we do have Kante, but it's a case of he's 30 now, and we need someone who's going to come in and replace him as well, because at some point Kante is going to leave as well. So it's more of a case of trying to get that understudy who's going to develop.
Who do you see as that perfect replacement for Kante? Would it be Ndidi?
Ndidi's a shout. There's Somare from Lille. There's Zakaria from Borussia Mönchengladbach. There's multiple people like that. Obviously, we don't need to replace Kante now, but it's more of a case of trying to get someone to almost play with Kante. And so, yeah, I don't really think we need Varane because, Terry, as I told you a few weeks ago, what we are is we're the man with the body, but downstairs we've got no equipment. And we just need that equipment up top before we start getting centre-backs.
Aye. Flaccid FC. Thanks very much for coming on and having your say, bro. Love that. That's a funny analogy. I like it. Super chat here says all real City fans are waiting for the lap like they waited for Foden. No, that's actually is that Rory Delap's son?
Yeah, that's his son. That's his son.
I heard he's pretty good. You know,
He's good.
I also got told a rumor that Robbie Savage's son, who just signed his first pro deal with Man United, is also pretty good. Do you know what? I like Robbie Savage in the sense of he was a good, like, you know what's funny about him? He gets called a trash footballer, but he played pretty much his whole career in the Prem. Like, he was a good level, like, it was a good footballer.
Was he there at the Blackburn when they won the Prem?
No, he was still with Man United at that point, I think. No, it might have just been released by Man United, but he spent a long time in the Prem, good player. But he knows his limitations. I know he said once on BT Sport that he said, I actually got his point. He said every now and then he was world class, and he got laughed at. And I agreed with him. I've watched like championship players have individual games where they look like world beaters, but the difference is that they can't do it every week. But I heard his son's very good. I would just love to see Savage's son get his debut, because obviously Robin Savage never actually got to play for Man United. He never actually like. I just love to see. It would be just poetic, really. But yeah, I've heard this delapse pretty good. No Haaland, no Kane needed. Pep has always given the nod to kids who broke the record. Let's see what happens in terms of that. There's a funny comment there about Ashley Cole, but I'm not putting it up on the screen. Selling Tammy provides nothing extra to sell Tammy provides nothing extra to the team. There you go, David. David, you're at university. You haven't got your grammar's awful. You're making it hard for me.
Well, man goes to Hogwarts and they don't work on spelling. It's like, out of here, bro.
I know, man's too busy playing Quidditch and chasing Hermione around. Next up on the show, Chelsea fan Josh, we've got on the line. What you saying, Josh?
Yeah, hi. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think like I'm not gonna lie. I think Tammy's a bit disrespected, isn't it? And to be honest, like he's a very frustrating footballer. Yeah, he's definitely Bambi on ice and all of that, right? But last season he was our highest goal scorer with no penalties. I think he got 17, 18 goals.
He got 18 goals in all comps, 15 in the league.
Yeah, with no pens, right? And then this season, he's outscored Werner, and Werner was like this 50 million signing who's going to come revolutionize our team. Havertz was this generational talent who could play centre forward, right wing, cam, centre mid, and he's outscored them. So if I'm Tammy, right, I'm kind of looking at my current competition and saying, I'm kind of better than you lot. So why am I not being offered the time? Why am I not getting a contract? And people say, he scored against dead teams. Who has Werner scored against, bro? Werner scored against, Southampton and these men.
No, I do understand that. I do understand that. But one of the biggest problems here is that he's asking for a contract of around £180,000 per week. That's also part of the stuff. If Tammy was asking for... Tammy is not even worth 100K a week in the modern day game. He's not.
Okay.
He's not 100K a week. So he's asking for almost double that. He's asking for money. He's asking for double the money for Bruno Fernandes. He's asking for more money than Marcus Rashford earns at a bigger football club. That's what the stumbling block is here as well, you know.
Can I rebuttal that? Yeah. So, like, you look at Hudson-Odoi, yeah? Hudson-Odoi is probably getting somewhere between 120K and, 150K. Is he worth that?
Well, no, not right now. But the difference is that Chelsea Football Club believe, and also teams like Bayern Munich, that's why you offer 80 million for him. Yes. Or they believe that he's got the talent and the ability to go and become that player. So they said, you know what, to keep you from getting poached from bigger from teams, we'll give you the contract that we think you will be able to become in years' time.
And that's what you've also got to look at here as well, Josh. And I mean this with respect to Tammy, because I think he's a good football player. The biggest team that wants to buy Tammy from Chelsea is West Ham. Hudson-Odoi are the best teams in Europe wanting to sign him. So when your agent is sitting in a room negotiating your new contract, if my bargaining chip is Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Man United, and Man City want me, and your bargaining chip is West Ham might want me, if not West Ham, then Brentford, you're not getting as much money. You don't have the leverage, and do you know what I mean? You don't have what is it? You don't have the facilities, big man. Do you know? It's just one of those
facilities, man.
It's just, and it's not disrespect. It's just how things are, and that is also a telltale sign for people. Who is looking at your players? You know, who are you linked with? A lot of people used to say, slag off the likes of Giggs and Scholes. But what big clubs wanted them? Well, do your history and do your research. During the 90s, when those two early mid-90s, late 90s, early 2000s, some of the best teams in the world were in Italy. Those Italian clubs tried tirelessly to sign Ryan Giggs and to sign Paul Scholes, but couldn't get it done. And it was even harder because they didn't have agents. So they had to go to the player directly. They said, no, I want to stay at Manchester United. So who wants to sign you, who's offering you deals, should tell you how good a player is. Marcus Rashford, when he was looking at his new contract a year or so ago, who was the major club that was trying to poach him? Barcelona. Yet people were saying he was a championship player. Barcelona are trying to sign you, make you part of their front line. Like that's what I think you have to look at here. But Josh, great call, mate. Good points being made. Another bit of challenge here on Terrace. Josh is with us now, all the way from Australia. What you saying, Josh? Man United fan in the house. What you saying, bro?
All right, first point I want to make, go Chelsea. I hope you bloody slice open City and give them what for, because I don't want to see that trash go and get on quadruple or treble this year. So go slice them up for me. Secondly, I reckon Chelsea should keep Tammy, because as long as they stay dead up front, they're not coming anywhere near us. But no, on the flip side, I think he's a little bit underrated. I mean, yeah, he looks like he's bloody drunk on a frozen sidewalk. But I mean, yeah, I don't know what you're expecting from him. He's how old is he now? 20, 22, 23, something like that.
I don't know.
He's still on the young side, so he's still got a little bit in him. I mean, you look at Marshall and other people around that age bracket. They're still.
He's 23. He'll turn 24 in October. So he's getting to that point. Like next season, he can't win Young Player of the Year. So he's not a young player anymore.
Yeah, true. Okay. So yeah, all right. Scratch that. They can get rid of him as long as he goes, championship or go to PSG. I'm sure they'll do something with him. Just get him off the books. I think they might be looking to clear house possibly.
What Tammy needs, he needs Choupo-Moting's agent. That's who he needs. That guy has got the best agent in the world. Josh, thank you very much for your call and your support, mate. Really do appreciate that, my bro.
Terry, can I just say, I watched Tammy many times when he was playing for Bristol City live. There's nothing wrong with a player playing in the Championship. He was killing it. I know players want to play in the Premier League, but if I'm Tammy Abraham, I'm thinking, okay, maybe another stint in the Championship would be good for me. Go to a club that's building and looking to get promotion to the Premier League. I think would help him.
Yeah,
I actually think it would help him. Crystal Palace isn't going to help him, right?
Potentially, yes, but he's had the taste of Premier League. The one thing I will say is he has that taste of Premier League. He's had that taste. He's tasted the money of Premier League. The Championship for him won't cut it. And as much as I don't think he's that great, Championship is legit too easy for him. You can clearly see that. So for me, it's just he is for me, bottom half of the table striker or low to mid-table striker. You know what I'm saying?
I don't mean it like that, KJ. I mean a season in the Championship and a team that's likely to get promoted.
I hear that. That's only going to work. Yeah, it's only going to work for Tammy if they're a club if a team were in a position that Wolves were in the Championship, who not only have the ambitions to go into the Prem, but then to stay in the Prem and progress further forward. So a Leeds United or Wolverhampton Wanderers. I mean, Wolves could be a good club for him as an example. What I do find interesting is I know that Iheanacho's had a resurgence in the last couple of months, but let's not get carried away with ourselves. It does appear that every player that's been compared to or said is going to be better than Rashford in the last 3 or 4 years has pretty much seen their career go backwards. That is
they don't pass the Rashford test. They don't pass the Rashford test.
It's mad though. It's a case. I remember, by the way, that happened every year where Wayne Rooney is a much better player than Rashford is, in my opinion. But every 18 months, there was a new player. Better than Rooney, got to go in the England team. United should sign him. I remember when Ross Barkley broke through 18 months into his sort of career, and people were literally telling me he's better than Wayne Rooney. That's Ross Barkley. I just feel the same thing happens with Rashford. Every time there's a new young striker or inside forward that comes through, it's better than Rashford. But I've smoked Rashford. It was only a year or so ago. Arsenal fans were telling us that Nketiah.
Yeah, I remember man scored 2 goals against Norwich in the cup. It was like, yep, we've got our Rashford. He's going to be better. But Nketiah again. Tammy Abraham is better than him. But Nketiah, another whack striker, fam. He is whack.
In the last few years, so it's been. I know that was the Iheanacho thing. Now, Iheanacho's had a very good couple of months, and if he continues at this level, then there's a debate to be had. But Iheanacho fell by the wayside. Tammy was better than Rashford for a couple of weeks. That didn't work out too well. Nketiah, you mentioned. I remember before he even kicked a ball for Liverpool, Brewster was going to be better than Rashford. This happens all the time. It's just crazy. Don't put this. I remember Tammy. I actually think what's gone wrong with Tammy, a small part of this. When he scored those 7 goals in 3 games at the early part of last season, he's a new Drogba. And I remember doing the FT show, which me and Adam used to do live in London. Missed that show. I'd love to bring that back. Just live on the street in London. We were talking about it, and I said I think it will cripple him. People call him the new Drogba. I was like, slow down. It's an amazing few games, but slow down. We have a super chat here from J-Ling's fam who says Tammy needs to look at Lingard, go to a mid-table club, do well, and have big clubs looking at him. I even think Arsenal would be good for him, a mid-table club.
No. Arsenal is one of those ones where, like, if he can't handle Chelsea fans and the Chelsea pressure, I think Arsenal pressure is harder. Arsenal pressure is much worse. And I don't think Tammy Abraham would suit him well. Literally, West Ham, Everton, Crystal Palace, them man there, you know what I'm saying? Those teams like that, Tammy Abraham, go there, do your thing.
I would say no to Arsenal if I was his agent. I would advise not, because Arsenal fans, they're on the denial. I need to get a picture up. I need to get a picture. I'm gonna show where Arsenal fans are, because they've been on this a long time. I need to get this picture up. I need to do this. Is that big enough? Okay, yeah.
Terry, if I'm his agent, I'm trying to move him to Arsenal with the wages.
No.
Yeah, definitely. I'm trying to get paid.
I'm going to show you why.
That's the kind of agent you are, bro. You just want the peas, bro. You're a peas agent, fam.
I'm going to show you why now. I need to just highlight this and make the screen bigger. I'm going to show you why you don't put Tammy in the Arsenal team. Because Arsenal fans haven't come to terms with something yet. Sometimes I get so annoyed when you try and scan in on something. Oh, there we go. That's big enough. Right. That should share it right now. There we go. We're kind of here with this, right? That's the denial curve. That is a denial curve in life. Shock, denial, anger, bargaining, depression. Arsenal fans are a mixture of still between there's no more shock. There's no more shock left with the Arsenal mid-table team. Some are still in denial. Some are still denying it. Some are in the angry phase. Some are in the bargaining stage that trust the process. Some are in the depression stage around, oh my God, we really are in trouble. Arsenal fans are no longer are not at the acceptance level. They are not at the acceptance level that they're a mid-table team. And this is the problem about Tammy going to Arsenal. Every player that comes in now, because of the denial, the anger, and the bargaining, especially, and the depression also leads to an element of anger coming back. This is scientific, psychological fact, is the pressure would be too high on him. Any other mid-table team would love Tammy Abraham because he'd score a good amount of goals. A lot of Arsenal fans still expect to be scoring and performing and winning as regularly as a top 4 team or a title challenging team. Until Arsenal fans get to acceptance and then move towards problem solving as a fan base and as a team, no player should be looking to go to them.
You know what's funny with Miguel?
They're top team still.
You know what's funny with Miguel? Miguel is between problem solving and badgering. Like he's just in between there, where like he's trying to problem solve, but then he's still in this denial of where it actually are. It's really weird.
He's not. He's in bargaining because he's in. I think he's in that bargaining stage now where he's sort of, I'll do to prevent. Maybe if we do this, if this happens, that'll happen. That's where they are. The next phase that comes is that it really is as bad as I thought. When you accept where you are, life's a lot better. But if you actually look at the denial curve and you think about shock, denial, anger, bargaining, and then think about Arsenal fan cams over the last 5-6 years. They're the emotions. That's them. It's a clinical fact. That's where Arsenal are. And back to the actual point of this matter, it isn't to actually ever go at Arsenal. It's the wrong place for a Tammy. If he goes West Ham, he goes Everton, they know those clubs know where they are. Arsenal fans a lot of them still think top team, Tammy comes in, he's going to get us back to the top. And that's what happens every single time. Arsenal fought when they signed Thomas Partey and they're out there doing the dancing. They fought. They fought. Top 4's back on. And it's not. And that's the bargaining. And then the problem is they get to the depression point and they shoot back to shock. They can't get past that line. And do you know what it is? There's a very important line in this. And you should learn this in life, people. There's a line here and it's a look back, look forward line. They keep looking back. How often do you hear we used to, we should, we are Arsenal? Instead of looking for, and this is where even the Arteta inners and Arteta outers, they're all at this crossroad. But none of them are actually, the Arteta inners are trying to look forward, to be fair to them. The outers are actually looking backward. What we used to, it's a very vicious circle. They're on a circle rather than a curve, to be fair.
Where do you think United fans are on this one?
I actually think, see, I know where I am. I'm in acceptance. I'm in acceptance that we're no longer where we were. I'm past those other areas. I think it depends on what our fans do.
Yeah, I think anger is most.
Yeah. So anger is where a lot of people are. Denial was past. The anger is settling in. If you look at the overall fan base together, I would say we're between anger and bargaining. I think. Yeah. Some people are already in acceptance and problem solving. They are the Glazers are the biggest problem people. Some of them are still in the anger and denial phase. They're either the Ollie outers, the Pogba outers, the Martial inners or outers. They're all just fighting over. And this is what happens when you're in denial. You actually end up fighting over things that are not that important. Think about your life when you deny. You're not even looking at the real. You haven't got to a point to actually solve a problem. You've got to get to acceptance. And then you get to.
I'm seeing a lot of people saying in the comments, "We've got high standards. I'm not accepting mediocrity." It's literally one person. Ed says, "Never accept mediocrity. It's for losers." No, it's not. It's understanding where you are and accepting that's in the position you are is not for losers. That's for people that actually strive and go on to do better things. Absolutely. The losers are the ones who can't let go of the fact that, listen, you're no longer there. How many times do we see these old men in clubs trying to chat up these young girls, these young women, and he's let himself go. He ain't good looking no more. We call him a loser because he can't let it go. Accept where you are. You know what I'm saying? Understand where you are. It's completely different.
And what I would say to people is research the denial curve, the behaviors that go with it, and what it looks like. Acceptance means you're preparing for what's reality. The next stage is problem solving. Problem solving is how can you play a part to the future to getting back to where you need to be. However, when you've fallen from grace and you're in the doldrums, just having high expectations with no problem solving mechanisms in between and having an understanding of how long it takes to get back there is silly. So you may have Arsenal fans that say, I'm never going to accept us being where we are. I think you're looking at it wrong. There needs to be this, I'm never going to be happy just to stay where we are right now forever. There needs to be a plan of action to get back to the top. But you engage your brains. Think critically. How long is it realistically going to take to get back to that point? And accept that and look at the steps moving forward. The problem is, what I find still with a lot of Arsenal and Man United fans, key stage one thought is, I ain't accepting mediocrity. I'm not a loser. We need to get back to the top. Yeah, but you're 10th in the league. Yeah, a better manager comes in. Is that going to make you top of the league straight away? No, it's going to take 4 or 5 years. So you still need to slow down a bit, because if you keep that same level of, but I'm not accepting being 6. Yeah, but you're on a progression to getting back to the top. Slow down. There comes a point where you have to accept that it's Arsenal. No matter if you brought Pep into your club now, 4 or 5 years still to win the league. Still.
That's true. And also, I think people misunderstand it. The word accept isn't the word happy. People assume if you accept something, you are happy with it, and therefore that, oh yeah, so if Man United fans, Arsenal fans accept where they are, they're happy with not being the best. No, that's not what it is. Accepting something is acknowledging what's happening, not letting it bother you, and you just move forward. That is the problem. Accepting where you are is not being happy with it. It's understanding it.
There's a comment here, and this is an interesting one. It says, Terry, does that mean you accept Ollie? So my acceptance isn't happy for us to remain with the manager of Ollie's level forever. My acceptance is my club isn't run well enough to get us back to where we want to be. So on a day-to-day basis, and I'll always have moments of regression because I'm a human being where I'm like, oh, I want to be better than this, but I can't stay angry about it every single day. If Mikel Arteta fails this season to win the Europa League and he finishes 10th, and the next season he finishes 9th with no trophy and Arsenal keep him, it becomes beyond an Arteta problem. It's the club's problem. And if you can't change that, you need to accept it. Otherwise, you lose the will to move forward. Now, I understand you staying angry if you don't feel your club is making the progressions and are trying to fix the problems to move forward. But there still comes a point in time where you got to let it go, because we are talking about football here. We're not talking about something that's being inflicted upon your human rights. So I totally get in life, if you're being restrained from doing something you should be allowed to do, you never accept it. You keep fighting and pushing. This isn't one of those things, bro. Like, do you know what I mean? This isn't your right to vote. This isn't your rights for free speech. This is football. So that's not, I know someone's going to give an example like that. You say that so-and-so shouldn't. No, that's different. That's a different kettle of fish, false equivalence. But for me, Arsenal fans have got to accept that they're a mid-table team, and it's going to take a long time to build themselves back up to being title challengers again. And until that acceptance comes in and people realize that it's going to be baby steps moving forward, every year you should look for small progressions. So I do agree with some of the Arteta outers that they feel Arteta hasn't moved them forward this season. That is a fair argument. But it's when they go too far by saying, if we had Ancelotti, we'd easily be in the top 4. I think that's denial. That's too far in that. And that's the problem with a lot of these arguments. It's never listen, if we had a better manager than Ollie, we might be 4 or 5 points behind City. I think that's a fair argument. If we had Poch, we'd be smashing this league. Again, that's denial. That's a madness to me. It really, really is.
Terry, I agree. I think so. I spoke to a gal and I spoke to Samuel, and they told me that if they get pot 1, they win Europa and they get pot 1 in the Champions League, they can go on a run. But my argument is, you can't do that. Like, you're still not good enough to win that group. For me, if you're against the worst teams, like winning Europa is not progression. There is no knockout football is not progression. It's a great achievement, incredible achievement, but the league tells you where you are. You're 9th in the league because you're the 9th best team in the league. That's a fact. You can't get away from that. It's equal. Everyone plays each other.
And United showed that. Like, even us getting Champions League, we still weren't ready for it. Not really. Like, we came back from 3rd after a terrible first of the season. We got into the Champions League. We got one of the hardest groups in the tournament. And yes, we started off really well and got in South 8, got into a pole position to get through to the knockout stages. But we showed that we just wasn't ready. You know what I mean? We wasn't ready to actually do what United fans think we could do, which was get semi-finals or something. Like, we're not there yet. Next season, we go again. And because the team is better and will be more prepared and more experienced in the Champions League, that's when I expect, all right, you have to get out of the group.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing I'm talking about here. I know people say, oh, by the way, West Ham conceded a goal, and in the build-up to the goal, I think Dawson got a second yellow card, which they put it back to us. So they conceded a goal, which is one of the funniest own goals you're ever going to see in your life. Maximin did well, had a shot saved, and then the defender puts it in, right? And then Dawson was sent off. So they conceded an own goal, and Dawson got sent off in the same passage of play. Really big goal, like for Chelsea and for Tottenham, there's no doubt. But listen, I agree with what you're saying, and people have got to understand. See, again, everybody's hyperbolic in these arguments. Everybody's black or white, left or right, X or Y. There's never that understanding that it takes a while to go from one to the other. You can't be a mid-table team and jump up sustainably by one signing or a couple of signings and a new manager. It takes time. It's steady progression to get to that point. That's what you have to accept. Not accept that you're just going to stay where you are forever. Equally, not live in denial that you can just jump straight back into it. There is a steady and slow process. And what I find with most people, again, Arteta inners, you know what, if we get that Champions League, I think we're back in it, That's mad. That's mad. That's not acceptance of where you are. Equally, Arteta outers, better manager, we fly up the league. That's generally speaking the two arguments you hear. And I listen to both. And Ollie and Ollie outers are the same. And I listen to them all and think, you're all mental. None of you are accepting of where we actually are as football clubs and how long it's going to take to get back to the promised land. And to get there, you need good decision-making across the board. And neither of our clubs have it. So it becomes an arbitrary key stage 1 level debate about the manager or one player. Like I've heard Arsenal fans say, get Jack Grealish. It's a whole new ball game for us. Villa have Jack Grealish. It ain't a whole new ball game for them. Like,
listen. The removal of acceptance leads to the denial. Like, it leads to delusion. The absence of acceptance leads to delusion, people.
What happens is with the denial curve is, yes, it's a curve, but you can regress and move back. You can regress and move back up it again. Like you can get to this point where you're nearly in acceptance, you look back and it's boom. Because what happens is in football, we have this tendency we have a moment where a good run of form, or we're going to beat a good big team or whatever, and suddenly we're like, we're back. So you go back to that first point, and then it goes wrong again, and then shock and denial and anger and bargaining comes in. If you just accept where you are, it happens less frequently. There's no doubt.
Do on that graph. No, should do that graph where it has that line where it says looking back, looking forward. They should have another line that goes back into a circle. It goes back into the circle. It's like, if you don't actually get past this line here, you will always be in this cycle of denial, anger, bargaining.
It's true. And it's funny because that line, actually, I said earlier on, that looking forward and looking back is like the inners and outers. It's not really. Inners and outers are all looking back. They're all looking back, but they're just, what they're doing is they're different ends of the same spectrum, but they're looking backwards. And as soon as they get a good run or they get the manager in that they want, they suddenly think they're moving in the right direction. And they're not. They're back to the beginning because none of the actual problems at their clubs are being resolved. And there's no acceptance of that. And they just end up on this spiral.
Go back to this shot and like they get the run they want. Oh, yes, Ollie's on a run, he's back. Or, oh, yes, we got Pochin, we're back. And then things go wrong again. The shot kicks in, denial, anger. It's just a side. It's just a
There's no acceptance of where you are. And then when you accept where you are, there's this like the club. It's not for us as fans to do this, but the problems are not being resolved. Right? And that's not really our job to do that as such as fans. But if we focus on those problems as the problems, it means we don't go back to the shock, anger, denial, and bargaining element. And it's like I've said it's like I've said before about this summer. I'm going to give this summer and this new structure at Man United a chance and an opportunity to flourish and be great. But if we behave in the same way, I'm not accepting. I'm not believing in the new process. So I'm accepting where we are, but I don't think problems are being solved. So I'm not looking forward. I'm going to stay in the acceptance stage, but I'm not going to allow myself to put myself into a position 2-0 to Newcastle, Joe Linton. I'm not going to allow myself to put myself into a position where I can be shock or in denial or anger again. It's not going to happen. Listen, everyone who's tuned in today, thank you. We're back live after Chelsea versus Man City today. Big player rating show after that as well. Terry, why are players like Lukaku, Depay, Memphis Smalling doing well at other clubs but did poor at United? I mean, look, Depay's doing it in the French leagues. Let's see what he does at a big club. Di Maria doing it in the French league. He didn't really want to be at Manchester United, though. I think that was the biggest problem with him. Lukaku started well. It's part of the toxic situation that happened with Jose Mourinho, Pogba, and all that jazz. Could have done, if we were being run better at that particular time, I think that he would have done a lot better. I'm not too sure who else was in that super chat who was mentioned. Smalling, he hasn't done as well since he had that one really good year. He hasn't done as well this year, mate. I think you've got to do your research on that one, but there we go. Listen, so we're back later on today after the FA Cup semi-final, but until then, take care. Goodbye.